Massey was sure to be nodding over a thumb-worn magazine in a corner by the stove. But his sleep was only the sleep of a wild cat, as 2 or 3 would-be practical jesters had discovered to their cost. Massey enjoyed a whirl in a dance-hall. He danced with enthusiasm and abandon, while Calmot sat sneering in a corner, refusing to drink, refusing almost to talk. So bent was he upon the performance of his friend. If Massey took a bit too much to whiskey and noise, a stern hand would fall upon his shoulder and a stern voice would order him home. That command he never refused. They obeyed one another implicitly, a marvelous thing to see, each admitting the other's superiority in certain matters. On the water, Massey was the skipper, and Calmot, the man before the mast, slaving. Over the snow, Calmot broke trail like a giant, while Massey performed the easier task of handling the dogs because he had a peculiar talent in dealing with animals. In the woods, Calmot was the commander. He had the natural genius of a wild Indian, with an Indian's ear and silent footing. He could find moose. Fish came almost of their own volition to his hook or his salmon spear. His rifle would bring down almost anything that his eye could see. So when they hunted or trailed in the summer woods, Calmot issued orders, and Massey slavishly obeyed them. At building a log hut, at putting up a snow or soil igloo, Calmot was again the master, or at skinning a bear or a seal, and also in mining, whether on the Klondike Creek or the Nome beach. In the fighting of their battles also, he was the chief director, barking out instructions like a company commander when they fell into a fist fight against odds, as they continually were doing. Massey, shaken with blows and with joyous laughter like a drunkard, would spring in to execute the orders of his older comrade. Their battle tactics were famous, but if the brain of Calmot was feared, the snaky quickness of Massey's hand, once seen, never was forgotten. When they came into a civilized community, Massey at once assumed direction of everything. He sold, bought, traded. He supplied dogs, food, sled sheets, and all that was required for the march, thus removing from the sullen temper of his friend the annoying friction with other men, for Calmot by nature loved solitude. It was Massey who always made contracts, drove bargains, patched up quarrels started by Calmot, or helped him to finish a fight. They had done all manner of things. They had hauled freight with 2 teams and 4 sleds. They had worked in the woods and rafted the big timbers down to Circle City. They had dragged along Klondike Creek and among the beach diggings of Nome. They had speared salmon and dried them to sell for winter provisions, simmering 20-pounders down to 1/7 of that weight. Out of their campaigning they had gained heaped adventures enough to fill a library of books, very little money, and that quickly squandered, and above all, that friendship which had become famous throughout the cold white land. Then they trekked out of Nome with 1 team of 6 dogs, 2 sleds, and went to prospect on the Circle. They had heard of the great frozen tundra, the few trees, the silence. The tales of gold prospects were enough to tempt them. So they went out on the snow, and, when it left them with bad sledding, they were on the Amachu Creek. There they found a hot spring that ran lukewarm waters and gave off a constant mist. But heat is a priceless thing in that region, and by the hot spring they settled down. They lived chiefly on ptarmigan at first. The ducks and geese came in later, but thin and worn from their long flight, so that they were hardly to be regarded even as dog food. Later, when the young hatched, they could kill the small ones with clubs before they were able to fly. The Onmachuk is a salmon stream, and this they found out as the summer progressed. One morning they found the pools black with backs of closely packed fish, but to get them out for food was not an easy task. A 15-pound salmon has the strength of a small